Wow, that might have been the most aggravating game that the Flyers led in and won that I may have seen in a very long time. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and the Flyers, they pick up a 1-0 game, 1-0 win here in Game 3 and take a 2-1 series lead over Montreal. Now, as I said, one of the most aggravating games I've seen in a while. It just seemed like I don't know what it was. I mean, the power play was bad. I'm oh my god, I'm gonna rip into that in a couple minutes, but man, it's just so odd to me. So I'm gonna break it down in a couple minutes, but a couple notes here to start off the game. Hag and Raffl are in, Ghost and Farabee are out. I think the reasons for this is because, one, I didn't think Ghost had the best last two games. He's looked okay on offense. On defense, he's looked like crap. He's been really bad. I don't really think he's made any really smart plays or things like that. I think he's made a lot of turnovers and things like that. I mean, as I said, everybody really didn't play that great in Game 2, but regardless, they make those switches, and I think it's more of a physical game too, which is why Farabee is out and Raffl's in, because those guys can hit. Hag and Raffl, they're physical guys. They can make plays, and I thought both of them played great tonight. But starting off here in the first period, it was a good start for the Flyers early. I mean, really anything they could have did in this first period was better than in Games 2 and in Game 2 with that whole debacle of a first period and really the whole game itself. But regardless, the Flyers, they were moving the puck early. They were getting some chances, and they broke down the Canadiens' forecheck so well, they really didn't have much going on. Flyers get really like their first offensive zone draw here, and they get a goal. The first line's out there. You get Hag at the point. So they win it. Giroux back to Hag. Down back to Giroux. Throws it to the net. Voracek's going to the net. And it hits off of Jake's stick and deflects over Price. It looked like the Canadiens were going to challenge us for goalie interference. They did not, because I think if they did, they would have lost it. Flyers would have got a power play. Who knows if they would have done anything. But regardless, that's one thing you don't want to do. A couple minutes later, a 4-minute power play here for the Flyers with a high stick that draws blood. And Nate Thompson is the one who draws blood right at his nose, about right here. And nothing. I think the first 2 minutes of it, it looked like a passing drill in their own zone. And the other two, they had two shots in really 2 minutes. But it's actually two shots in the 4 minutes, which is terrible. It got the momentum, but again, the power play, I don't know what they have to do. The second unit just looks off. And really the first unit too. I don't know what it is. I think they try to go for the perfect play every time, and it's obviously not working. First period ends. Shots are 8-5 Flyers. I thought the Flyers had a good first period, a smart first period on the offensive side and the defensive side of the puck. They just the way that they moved it, and as I said, broke down their forecheck. It was just insane because it was such a step up from that last game where they were just horrible in their own zone. They could not really do anything to save their lives. But as I said, they get out of the first period here with a 1-0 lead. Shots are 8-5. So going into the second, Flyers have a really good start. A couple of chances really. They ended up taking a penalty here. They kill it, and the Habs, they had a couple nice chances on this, and as I said, the Flyers kill that. A couple minutes later, this is kind of like it was really like a back and forth period, a lot of neutral zone play. It was just teams, for some reason, it seemed like every time the Flyers would go to dump the puck in, and not even just in the second period, in this whole game, Carey Price in this game reminded me of Binnington in Game 7 versus Dallas last year in the semifinals where Maroon scored in overtime, because what Binnington did really just deflated Dallas. What did he do? You may remember what I'm talking about. He would play the puck every single time they dumped it in, and the Flyers could not do a single thing, it seemed like, for a lot of this game, because their forecheck was just tainted because Price was going out and playing the puck every time and moving it to his defensive partners. To be honest, and other times the Flyers, they were forcing Price to stay in his net because they had aggressive forechecks, but I don't know what it was. Price seemed like he was playing the puck all the time in this game. And then for Hart, he takes the delay game penalty because he shoots it out. It was a 5-on-3 for 5 seconds. They kill that off. But one thing I want to go back to here is Hart makes a great save off a turnover by Scott Lawton. He's cutting back into the zone, throws it, and he fans on it, and it looked like he fanned on it at least. And drew him. Goes in on a mini breakaway. Hart makes a nice save with the pad and looked like a piece of his blocker as well. That can happen. Lawton had 2 really bad turnovers. I texted Amadeo as soon as that happened because he had texted me that Lawton was playing like a bonehead, and I agreed for that point. But regardless, I said to him, I was like, I would love to see Raffle on that line because one, I thought he was playing really good, and two, I think he has good chemistry with the both of them. The next shift, Raffle was out there, so I basically called that, which was pretty cool. But regardless, it was still 1-0 after one. Both teams had a couple chances in this period. It wasn't really much going for both teams offensively. I think the best thing the Flyers did in this game was keep everything to the outside like they did versus Tampa. Everything was to the outside, and they blocked a crap ton of shots in this game. I mean, the blocks in this game for the Flyers, they had 24 blocks in this game. That's a lot. The Canadiens also had 16 giveaways to the Flyers, 5. So that right there, like the stats tell you, and even the hits were 36-23. If the Flyers had scored on the power play and maybe did a little bit better on the faceoffs in this game, they won the faceoff percentage at 51-49. If they did better on the power play, this game would have been perfect. They were great defensively, and the stats show it. 36 hits to 23, 24 blocks, and 5 giveaways to the Canadiens, 16. The Flyers were so good in this game defensively because they knew they had to be because of what last game and that whole mess of last game. But as I said, it's still 1-0 after the second period. Shots on goal were 14-13 in favor of the Flyers after 2. Habs hit the post early here to start the third. That was their 4th post of the game. 2 from Kakaniemi, 1 from Suzuki, and the other one was Brett Kulak on defense. He had a crossbar. They actually had 2 posts in the same sequence in the first period, which was kind of nail-biting, but also at the same time it was good for Hart because he got a couple saves there from his friends. But it was really a back-and-forth period. Power play, still nothing. They literally got nothing going. They get another one right after, nothing. Horrible. The power play was atrocious tonight. It goes 0 for 6. The penalty kill was good for the Flyers. They killed off 3 penalties. Habs went 0 for 3 on the power play. But regardless, the power play, I don't know what it is. It just seems like they try for the fanciest play at times, and it's just so aggravating to me, which is why I said this might have been the most aggravating game, because I feel like they could have scored a lot because, one, I think the Flyers had a lot of things going into this game too, which is why I think they played so good defensively and just things to play for in general. But as I said, going back to the power play, they were just horrible. Like, I don't know what it was. I mean, I think that I definitely want them to change up some units. I would like to see maybe Sanheim on the top unit. I think he's looked good, and I don't really know with Provorov. I think he's looked a little off. Really, since that Tampa Bay game, I think Provorov and Niskanen, both of them as a pair, and then Provorov himself on the power play, I think they've all looked off. But the second unit, Grant does not work out on the power play. I would honestly rather have Lawton, to be honest with you. I like Aube-Kubel, but I would rather have Lawton instead of Grant. Me and Yuri from Flyers and Nitty-Gritty were talking about this earlier. He said he would rather have Lawton on there, and then I was like, well, I kind of like Aube-Kubel, so maybe you switch out Grant where they had on for a little bit, put Lawton in. I wouldn't mind that. But again, I do like his point, and I do agree with him because I think Lawton has some really good chemistry with some of those guys on that power play, guys like Hayes, and then guys like Niskanen as well. I think they all really have some good chemistry, those guys lower in the lineup, but something needs to change with that power play. It's 1 for 25 in the playoffs, 0 for 6 in this game. You go 0 for 7 versus the Capitals. It's just unacceptable at this point. I really don't know what it is. They have to shoot more. I think they pass way too much. They try for the perfect play. And listen, I know it can get annoying with Flyers fans because everybody says, oh, they got to shoot. There's a difference between just shooting to shoot and, passing to pass, if that makes sense. Like, there's no reason why they have to make 18 different passes and not get a single shot on goal. I mean, I think they try way too much to the outside. I'd like them to try more of the bumper play with Coots in the middle. But, I mean, again, and I want them to do more guys in front of that. You know why they scored in Game 1 on the power play? They shot the puck from the point, and they had guys in front of Price. That is how you score on the power play when you get shots on net. I think one of the best plays that I saw from that Islanders and Panthers qualifying round series was the one power play goal. I didn't watch much of the series. I know people were probably like, what are you talking about? But as for the power play, Huberdeau, I believe, Barkov had scored the goal, and Huberdeau stood in front of Varlamov so perfectly where some guys would go out of the way as soon as they shoot. Huberdeau stayed in front of him, and Barkov had sniped it. I mean, obviously, one, that's trust in your partner, obviously, when you have a guy like Barkov shooting the puck, right? But again, it's such a good play by Huberdeau because he takes, literally, if you go back and watch the play, you could probably look it up on YouTube. Go back and watch it after this video. I guess after you're done watching this, but, and if anything, you might remember it. But even still, he blocks the eyes of Varlamov so well that he has no chance of getting it. But Again, that's really my only complaint about this one. The Flyers were so good defensively. As I said before, the stats, they show it. I'll run over them again. Hits were 36-23, blocks 24-10, Canadiens had 16 giveaways, Flyers had 5. That was insane. Now going into the ice time and the shots on goal. So shots on goal were 23-20 in favor of the Canadiens here. Ice time here for the Flyers. Coots with 22 minutes and 19 seconds. 7 minutes and 24 seconds of that is power play time. 2 minutes and 22 seconds of that is shorthanded. So again, the Flyers had so many power plays tonight. Ivan Provorov here for the Flyers on defense. He gets 26 minutes and 44 seconds. 7 minutes and 53 seconds is power play time. It's just so weird. I mean, Sanheim gets 21 minutes with 3:45 being on the power play. Niskanen 23 minutes even with 4 minutes 17 seconds on the power play. The Flyers just have to do something different. I mean, they're having so many guys out there getting so much time. The results have to come. Listen, I know it takes time for a power play, but when you have 25 tries at it, you cannot score just once. I will say that right there. One thing that I want to say, going back to what I said with the Flyers having a lot of things going into this game, I think 3 things. Obviously, the difference of that game, you like they knew they had to come out and play better. That's number 1. Number 2, I think it was having Lindblom at practice today. He skated with the team, which is great news. He's in the stands with them, and then he was in the locker room. His stall had stuff. He had all of his equipment. That's another thing. You want to play for Lindblom because now he's there and he's around the team. It's great to see. And if the Flyers can go deep, AV said that Lindblom, he will be here. He could be playing in a couple weeks if the Flyers are still in Toronto. So that's definitely good. Or if they're still in Toronto, heading to Edmonton at that time. But I think the third thing is what AV said about the Canadiens putting their top unit out in a 5-0 game with that power play. I think they knew about that, and that fueled them as well. So those were like my 3 things. Another thing is here, Hart was phenomenal in this game. He had 23 saves, and he's the youngest Flyer goalie ever to record a playoff shutout. So that right there, he's 22 years of age, or he's 22 and 3 days. So again, really good there from the Flyers. Again, it was a good game. At the end of the day, a win is a win. All right, so let me know what you guys think below on tonight's game. Again, it was a good game. A win is a win. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll see you guys in the next one, and goodbye.